Awa Khiwe, so nice to have you here.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
How was your trip?
It was long. I'm tired, but I'm happy to be here. I'm happy I made it and I wasn't late. I was so worried when I came, but I'm happy I made it on time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I read somewhere that you are based in Germany now, but I'm not sure if that's true.
Yeah, I am. I'm based here and I'm working here with a German producer and I'm signed by a German label and I'm working on my first album here in Germany.
Oh, awesome. And how did that happen? When did you come here?
I met my manager, who is a German guy in Zimbabwe, at a festival called Shoko Festival. And he's the one who has been helping me with everything, with my music. My first tour to Germany, which happened, I think, 3 years ago. 3 years ago, yeah. And then he said, Awa, I think you're a talented girl. Why don't you have an album? And I said, I don't have enough resources to make an album. I don't have enough money to make an album. Then he said, okay, we'll see what we can do. And then later on, he contacted me and said, there's this German label that would like to work with you. And I would like to work with you as a manager. And there's a team that would like to work with you, a booking agency and a producer. So everything kind of worked out from there, from that festival in Zimbabwe when he visited Zimbabwe.
Oh, that's amazing. That's so much that came into place at once.
Yeah.
And you've got quite an extraordinary story. Like you had to leave school as a teenager, right? Or no?
No.
Oh God! Then I read something completely different. Sorry, then I read a different story.
No, it's okay. I had finished school. So I didn't leave school.
No.
I finished school, yeah.
Okay, but then you went to study, or was that the story of your mom? That you went to study and then...
I'm not sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm not sure where this one is coming from.
From your sorry, I saw it on your Facebook profile.
Oh, okay. I know. I went to South Africa to work, but that was after I finished school. Anyway.
Good. Okay,
yeah,
so I'm not completely off.
And no, you're not completely off. No.
Sorry. But how did you, like, between working and then studying, how did you find the time, or like how did rapping start for you?
When all that happened, that was before I started rapping. I was 15 and my mother wasn't feeling well and things were really bad in Zimbabwe, in the country. That's when we had the biggest inflation that the world has ever seen. And I had to move to work in South Africa to help out at home. And it was tough, but that was before I started rapping. I started rapping later on.
And how did you come in touch with that art form, or why did you choose rapping?
I've always loved rapping. I've always loved making stories out of words. I've always loved storytelling, even if it's not rap, even if it's just sitting by the fire and gathering children around and telling them a story. I think it's something that I adopted from my grandmother when we were growing up. I grew up in the village and we would all sit around the fire and the elders would tell stories, and I kind of had love for storytelling from there. And then later on, I discovered that I love hip-hop and so my brother said, you should try to make a song. But after you finish school, not now, because we don't want you to get disturbed. And I said, okay, I would try to write something, and I would always try to create beats from a bucket and stuff. And then later on, my brother took me to a studio where I recorded my first song, and people around the city liked it, and I didn't stop from there. I continued making music, yeah.
That's so nice. And how does your family see your work as a musician?
At first, they were not so supportive, to be honest. At first, my mother was like, oh my God, look how far we have taken you in terms of education. We have educated you, but you don't want to work. You just want to play around in the corner doing music. And they were against it. But I did not stop. I continued doing what I love. And even my brother told me, don't stop, don't listen to them. They will catch up. And later on, my career started growing. They started to see me traveling and performing more, and people appreciating. And they're slowly now also starting to appreciate, which is pretty cool, especially for my mom, which is like pretty awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. Your name, Awa Khiwe, it is your name, but AWA also stands for African Women Arise.
Yes.
Are there a lot of African women artists that you have as a community or that you work with?
I have worked with a lot of African women, collaborations. And even back home, I'm part of a band called Girl, and we come from different countries. We have Uyala from Ghana, we have Lady Di from Brazil, Venezuela, and I've worked with ladies from Zambia and many other African countries. And yeah, so I would say I've worked with many African women, yes.
And do you have this community here in Germany too? The band Girl, is that happening here, or is that like an international project?
It's based in the UK. It's based in the UK. So there's a UK organization called In Place of War. They work with artists from places of conflict, places like Zimbabwe, places like Venezuela, where there's a lot of political and economic crisis going on. So they are the ones who brought us all together and said they worked with us individually at first and met all of us, and they said, we met all these cool ladies, why don't we just bring them together and form a band? And that's what they did. So we all come together and we organize a tour, maybe almost every summer. And last year we were performing at the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games, which is pretty cool. It was an awesome experience for me. First time in Australia at the Commonwealth Games. Yeah. So yeah, we are based in the UK, I would say.
Nice. I watched a video of your performance, or of one of your performances in Zimbabwe, and I saw that the audience was mostly male, and I was wondering if you are, like, as a female rapper, if it's something very special there, because I feel even like everywhere around the world, hip hop is kind of male dominated.
Yeah. True. I think it's divided. It's partly special and it's partly a challenge. Sometimes I get people who appreciate my work and say, we love your work, we love what you represent in hip-hop, we love the stories that you tell about women and everything you represent. But I also get a lot of people who tell me, you know, we are not supposed to do this as a woman. I get also a lot of, how can I put this? I'm looking for the right English word to put it, but I'm failing to find it. I get a lot of challenges. People telling me, you don't do this as a woman. It's not something that is socially acceptable in Zimbabwe. Sometimes people say, a woman is supposed to be home, look after children, not go around clubs dancing and performing. Some people see it as something that is kind of like a disgrace within the community, something that is a disgrace within, women, and something that I shouldn't be doing. So it's something that I'm still fighting, something that I'm trying to inspire young girls to also have that mentality to do what they love, even if society does not accept it, or even family or friends or whatever. So yeah, it's partly special and partly difficult.
Yeah, it's like connected to a lot of obstacles, I guess. But
true.
But you're doing really well. And
thank you.
How is the album coming about?
I'm so excited because it's my first album, and because it's been quite a journey when I started, but from the first song until now, the people that have contributed and the stories that have been going on around, even personal challenges, financial challenges, it's been quite a journey that I have learned a lot from. And I'm happy that I've finally finished recording and everything, and the album will be out early next year.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And tonight on stage, will it be only you, or do you have some people?
Tonight on stage is just going to be me, and I will have Boris DJing for me. It's just going to be me and the DJ.
Awesome. Yeah. Then thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Have a great show.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.